Hi, I'm Erik Linask here at IT Expo West in Austin, Texas. We're here at day 2 of IT Expo, and I'm talking with Jim Safran. He's the president of GreenAppX. Jim, thank you for joining us. Good to see you again.
Erik, it's always a pleasure. Enjoy it.
It's certainly a little bit different environment here in Texas than we had down in Miami.
Yeah, so it's not the heat, it's the humidity, right?
Exactly. What's the latest? What's going on with you guys?
It's pretty exciting. We've completed further development on our single sign-on platform. That makes it really easy for business users to access pretty popular business applications: Microsoft Exchange, Mozy, McAfee, all unified under one billing, support, and a management platform. So all these disparate publishers, software publishers, customers able to pick and choose and customize the cloud offering that they're looking for. So typically they're looking for messaging products, they're looking for some type of extension to their mobility devices, they're looking for network security, some type of collaboration suite, either audio or video collaboration. And then what I feel is probably the most important category, and that is how you can protect your critical data. How do you back that data up? What was nice in theory and discussions in theory have recently, in the last year, have become a reality. I mean, we were talking earlier about weather changes. People really do have to be worried about their critical data being harmed in some way by a natural or man-made event.
What's the biggest, single biggest benefit that's driving customers to your platform?
I think what cloud services can provide to a customer is doing away with technology obsolescence. That's number one. The ability to always have the freshest application, the most recent version, without having to go down that trail of paying for upgrades, patches, the routine. Also, the ability to be able to handle or hand off that entire service to a third party. Most small businesses are busy running their business. They don't have time to figure out what's going on with the mail server. Being able to hand that off to somebody else, I hate the phrase, but I'll use it, one throat to choke for all this, makes it very convenient for them. And there's just a true cost benefit. When you look at the outlay for CapEx, I've got to buy a server, I've got to buy a server license, I've got to worry about, in the case of messaging, spam and virus, be able to make that just a service, a monthly service. As a business owner, I know that what my exact cost is going to be for application delivery every month. There's no spikes, no surprises, and that helps me smooth out my cash flow as a small business. I think that's probably critical.
So for the IT managers at these small and mid-sized businesses, the cloud movement, if you will, has really helped simplify what in a lot of ways became a very complex process as IP communications grew.
Yeah, and I think some IT administrators fear that they're going to lose some degree of control going to the cloud, and the truth is that we hand off a greater deal of control to them. So I'd say 90% of the things that as an example, an Exchange administrator could do with a server that was parked on a local area network, they can probably do about 90% of that through our platform still. And the truth is, if you ask any IT administrator, things like managing a mail server, that's kind of grunt work at this point. There's much more important tasks for them to be assigned to. So it's not, I don't want any IT administrator thinking we're trying to put people out of business. The truth is, better opportunity for them.
Well, less control, I should say, less management doesn't necessarily equate to less control.
Correct. So you've handed off really the drudgery and I think some of the mundane tasks to us, and you still can fine-tune it with the controls that we give you. Things like creating distribution lists, aliases, things like that are still at your control as an administrator.
That said, I imagine you still have that hurdle to overcome with some of these IT managers who are concerned or a little bit fearful over their job security.
That's why, and we don't do this to be scheming, but the truth is this is a financial discussion. So usually our engagements start at the executive level, and that's really, in any type of selling, high-level selling, you want to start at the executive level, and at the very least, you've got the person that's writing the check saying, I can't afford it, and you've decided to move on. But in the best case scenario is now you have a sponsor that may perhaps say, I want you to talk to my IT administrator. then that's coming down from above. But the discussion really always has to start in the executive suite because it is a financial decision.
So that's interesting that when you start at the top levels with that discussion, I imagine you are starting with the cost savings.
Yes.
And then it's up to them to push the ease of management,
Yeah.
simplification scenario down the line.
Yeah, going the other way, trying to, and there are deals that are closed going up through the IT administrator, but the truth is you really want to start at the top because that's where the decision's ultimately made. And if you've got sponsorship at the top, selling cloud services is a whole lot easier. I'm asked all the time, do you have return on investment tools that you can provide these guys? The truth is, innately, they know they're going to save money by going to a cloud system. And it's because of the experience that they've had over the last perhaps decade deploying applications on their local area network and all that entails. Broken machines, break fixes, having to call perhaps a third party on a regular basis. And when we talked earlier about smoothing out your cash flow, cloud services can really help you do that. You've got a very predictable expense every month on your services. And the ability, if you have a seasonality factor, or you've got God forbid you have a downturn in your business, you have the ability to adjust the number of licenses you're actually paying for. And that's not what you would do in a typical scenario.
Are there any services or applications that we theoretically couldn't deliver through the cloud?
I haven't found one yet. Now, I will tell you that I'm asked, what do you put in how do I know whether it's safe in the cloud? Or, what application, what customer is the right customer, The truth is, you need to look at your applications and determine which ones are true intellectual property that if they were compromised, the business would go down. As opposed to, gee, if the mail service went down for 15 minutes, would it put us out of business? So you really have to look at the spread of your different applications, decide what stays in the cloud and what stays internally or as another alternative in a private cloud.
Now, who takes that decision in the business? Is it the executive level or is it the IT?
I think it's a combination of IT and executive. You have to have IT input onto that. But certainly the executives of the company know where all the recipes for Coca-Cola are stashed, so to speak, and you really do not want to compromise that. And I'll quote somebody. Of course, I've forgotten his name now. Erik from Google, former CEO. Anyway, Erik Schmidt. So he said, basically, if you don't want it compromised at all, don't put it out on the net. Don't put it in the cloud. And I think that's still the best advice.
Fair enough. Excellent. Jim, thank you so much for joining me today.
Enjoyed it. Thank you, Erik.